The erasures are really they're almost the evidence of a performance that the viewer never sees. And they're all different. I could do the same drawing over and over, and it'll always be a different drawing because it all hinges on my mood, on how I'm feeling physically, you know, mentally, where I am in terms of the work and the images. It's not often that you have the opportunity to physically try to erase something that has a politic to it. And so you can have a kind of relationship with an image that's physical in a way, but also private at the same time. So I'm in the studio, I'm in my own head, and obviously I draw these images, and then I can, almost violently at sometimes try as hard as I can to erase it. And one of the beautiful ironies of it is that you can't, as much as I try to erase it, and as much as I try to obliterate the image, it can't completely be wiped away. Chandelier has been an object that I've played with for a long time in my work, and it's taken on different meanings and shifted over time. In some of the pieces that we're working on here at the press, those chandeliers come out of the film, out of the interiors of The Shining. So there's a number of chandeliers that are in the ballroom of the main room where The Shining is shot. So there's that. Other chandeliers came out of Hitchcock movies. I worked with, I was really interested in the film Marnie, and there's a very distinct chandelier that's in that film as well. So a lot of times the chandeliers are sort of signifiers or markers of a placement within a cinematic space, and that together with the kind of romantic notions that we think about chandeliers and what they mean, and different issues of class also come into play, I think, with the chandelier. So, who has access to it, the kind of wealth that's around the idea of having a space that can contain a chandelier, all of those kinds of issues pop up. So I think that it's such a beautiful object in and of itself that chandelier continues to pop up in my work a lot.
Let's get together now. This is the time for getting fresh for the weather now. See the sheep speaking and those keeping the faith. We won't have to hesitate. We just stay straight into the heart of it. This is the scene and I'm the dean and here's the start of it. So see how things should be and come along with me. Agree with this decree and let your conscience be free. Release me, geese me, so I can set it off. And if your body's feeling hot, won't you sweat it off? Flow and go, follow, because we are the crusaders. So you know we can create our own fate. Race, let's get into it now. Ain't nothing to it but to do it now. Do it now, word, you heard. This is the verdict now. You can shake it, don't you break it, don't you hurt it now. Flex, bend, twist into a motion of just being being down with the sound, I'll give a potion of vocab. So go grab the one of your choice. So then you'll feel it like you should, and you'll rejoice. So see how things can be, and come along with me. Agree with this decree, and let your conscience be free. Girls, these are the details. I like sophisticated, liberated females. Dutch, treat. I have no qualms with it. The shape is neat, and I like to grace my palms with it. Clock the suave, talking, you won't be walking away. Because I know this will stay for my play and sway. So rhythm pumping, baby. You must admit this is legit, and you'll be jumping, maybe. Hold up, wait up, and don't get too excited. For genuine is the line, while others chew and bite at times. For rhyme, make it, and never fake it the move. So get involved with the groove while I prove smooth. That's how I'll kick it to you. Because with all due respect, I want to stick it to you. See how things should be. And come along with me. Agree with this decree. And let your conscience be free. Let your conscience be free. Let your conscience be free.
What do you make of what's going on here?
Yeah.
I was trying to get the, almost like the film
Oh, yeah.
caught between two things kind of thing.
I feel like the hard part about this is going to be picking out the words in there. Like, you want it to be legible somewhat. So you're thinking of smearing one more is what you're asking.
To tell you the truth, I don't know what I'm asking.
Yeah.
For years, I've been apprehensive to actually even think about doing a print because it's almost opposite of the way that I work. I'm a very sort of immediate, intuitive, responsive person to the work, and it's all about sort of taking away images. And in some ways, as we're working on the plate, it's almost an additive. So it goes almost against the way I think about making my work, and it does force me into thinking about it from another direction. So where I have the immediacy of like wiping away an image and then being able to walk away from it, here, just because there's so many steps and thought processes between those steps, you're really sort of analyzing and staying within the image a lot longer. It's sort of stretched out.
I think because of the image, where it's these thin lines, I think you should leave these. Pam, what do you think? Leave these the way they are, because otherwise we're going to lose the text. And right now I think you have enough, like I'm comparing the T, like take one spot. This one looks like it's more smeared, but I can read it better.
Yeah, it's funny, right?
Right. 10 more minutes. We're going to just have to experiment with printing them either way.
And I think it's helped in other areas of, even making paintings. So in some ways, the paintings that I'm working on at home are I allow myself more to slow down in certain areas, or consider, like I can make a mark and walk away from it and come back into it in a different kind of way. So that's been a really interesting sort of addition to my normal practice as well. So it's kind of great to almost put yourself in a situation where you're not comfortable, and then you almost relearn certain parts of your things that you take for granted in your studio that you just do. And that's been a joy to actually have, because you it's almost like moving away and then coming back to a house, and you're familiar with it, but everything's sort of different. So I've really enjoyed that part of making these, and I think I'll continue to make them because it's an interesting approach to making this type of work. I'm in the studio, I'm in my own head, and obviously I draw these images, and then I can almost violently at sometimes try as hard as I can to erase it. And one of the beautiful ironies of it is that you can't, as much as I try to erase it, as much as I try to obliterate the image, it can't completely be wiped away.